Hi guys, this is what the Tron Legacy Prize is about. Held by Galluccisxrnpire and MacArthur Foundations and Alan Guth and MIT Physics. Versus the Starbucks 110th Street, Broadway, Manhattan, New York City at 10 p.m. this past evening, Monday night, yesterday, on Google Tube versus Facebook broadcast here. Kicked me out because of my name, gender, manager, woman, white. And of course the black guy manager refused to tell me the gender or the name because he has something to hide. And this is the kind of store that sets Share Planet. Tell Mr. Howard Schultz, the CEO, Share Planet or Bully Planet. And of course these people have no names, including him himself. And this is how they don't want government or families to set good examples for civilized, advanced civilized behavior. And of course here you can tell Starbucks 110th Street and Broadway and Share Planet's shareholders versus this. Now of course this is about Colonel Harold Floody, F-L-O-O-D-Y. Dan 35 was nominated for the Dr. MacArthur Prize Leadership Award in 1988. This man over here, the shadow you see is from the headlights above at Starbucks 114 in Broadway. In the U.S. Army Support Command, Hawaii. And that's what the Tron Legacy Prize is about. Not the Dr. MacArthur, but the Catherine and John T. MacArthur Foundation prizes and its new standards. Now let's take a look at some of the issues we take a look about in the Colombia Record, the research newspaper, January 31st, 2011. Using game theory to forecast climate changes. Written by Melanie A. Farmer and Professor Barrett of the Landfest Earth Institute, Professor of Natural Resource Economics. She joined an appointment in SIPA, School of International Public Affairs. Here's a picture of him. He says if we break up the problem into smaller pieces, we're more likely to have a dramatic impact in the end. You can read the article yourself. And large, by the way, Google has failed, tell Bob Gallucci, with Larry Page, new CEO, April 4th, to institute the changes in pages that we've asked for at iLabs and McFound Research Labs, and of course, Tron Legacy Prize not to fail this fall. What are we talking about? AOL has acquired over the weekend, announced on Monday after midnight, like this past midnight broadcast on Tuesday morning, Huffington Post. Ariana Huffington, I met at Colombia a couple of years ago, and I've spoke to her personally about why Obama was voted in by so many women married, and especially white married women. And of course she was the first woman captain of Cambridge University debate team. Well, she didn't want to debate me anymore. It's kind of getting a little bit giddy, if I want to put it lightly, and understating that positively. And of course Huffington Post is a blog of important people versus Facebook, 500 million unimportant people. AOL has taken it over versus Google, who lost the page but only changed CEO Schmidt, who made last minute point of his finger at the change of guards at Google. Of course, Princeton and Columbia, even Harvard, MIT, and its faculty and staff student members have now lifted a finger to the Institute or asked for a more aggressive policy, technology, and future policy changes at Google. And they haven't taken a note from AOL, a small company that split up in 2009 from Time Warner. Using game theory to forecast climate changes. If we break up the problem into smaller pieces, we're more likely to have a dramatic impact at the end. That's why we should have more tribal wars. Instead of 2,000 countries on planet Earth, we should have 500,000, maybe 500 million each individuals, taking individualism to extent. Unified theory of physics will only make the problem more difficult to understand. Tell Mr. Einstein working at the Institute of Advanced Studies in Princeton, New Jersey, and of course all the physicists that unified theory is a failure, according to famed Columbia economist, Mr. Barrett. Tribal wars are a better way for planet Earth and its government, and the UN is not necessary. And a unified planet is a disaster, not a dream. That's Mr. Barrett, Scott Barrett, an expert in complex international negotiations. Take a look at him again. Now let's take a look at Gavin Schmidt, adjunct senior research scientist at the Center for Climate System Research at the Earth Institute, member Jeffrey Sachs, Harvard economist, PhD, climatologist, NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, on top of Tom's Restaurant. Take a look at Tom's Restaurant in case you guys forgot what Seinfeld looks like. Read the article now. And of course, look at Bloomberg. Mr. Faniaski to the far right. The New Colombia Engineering School tells us CW funded issues, where we asked for electronic prize iLab and McFound Research Lab spin-off from last year's Bell MacArthur Prize Awards. It's this guy over here. Mr. Bloomberg, Mayor of New York City from Harvard Business School, in case you forgot. And the fact of the matter is that IBM Jeopardy computer to be debuted on TV was the 3 human champions that it beat resoundingly in January. A slow 80 teraflop computer versus the shows 9 times supercomputers at 80 petaflops, 1,000 times faster for simulating protein folding in water molecules, inside water molecules. And of course, the fact of the matter is that Mr. Faniaski and Charles Zukowski, and this character over here, who is he? Shi-Fu Chang, Chairman of Columbia WE Department. Never heard of him. Chinese guy has done some sort of stuff that allowed him to be elected to the American Association for Advancement Science. 4 elected this year from Colombia, including Wallace Broker from the Earth Institute in Lamont Doherty, New Jersey. And of course, he has done what he says here: contributions to multimedia content analysis and search. Since the early 1990s, his research group has developed numerous popular visual search engines and intelligent multimedia communication systems, whereas Google and content search should be hiring him. But IBM should be hiring me and use my idea as formulating a neural net, questions and answers. Answers supplied by Google Scholar and Google Art Center. Picture content that has acquired many museums' famous art, so people look at different sizes, different angles, and different magnifications and play around with it instead of going to museums such as the Met in New York City, Manhattan. But the fact of the matter is that Google Scholar and online libraries are the answers, and the questions are answered by IBM Jeopardy computer, and formulates between the question-answer relationship of all the data in online scholarly libraries of Google and elsewhere. Then, of course, you can formulate a statistical model of neural net connections, cause and effect, question-answer, for every answer that's in human book history from beginning and print, and even before. That would be difficult. And that's why Google Scholars and Google Larry Page should be turning the page versus missing the boat on acquiring Huffington Post, since Facebook's too big for him to acquire an IPO offering 2011 Christmas. Tell Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, Wozniak, Apple's working on iOS 4.3 special version of ours for Valentine's Day. And of course, their server speed and the Google server speed. And to speed up with high-speed communication links cannot be broken into by Apple or Google headquarters, hackers, or otherwise. That's what Bob Gallucci should be doing as chief of Intel. And chief of Intel to understand and find out what Columbia WE and Mr. Chang and Mr. Zukowski at CWE, Mr. Lee Bonja and Mr. Faniaski have been reluctant to give us CWE funding to design an ultimate large model of humanities from past to present and even future neural net statistics based on questions and answers series, and answers are in the books of written and online libraries. These are the things that tribal wars, as Mr. Barrett said, breaking the problem into small problem makes the world better. It's against unified physics and unified planet or even United Nations. The word united should be banned by Mr. Barrett. And what is he in Colombia and the new VP of Research, Mr. Purdy, former director for 10 years at Lamont Doherty, Earth Institute, Palisades, New York, New Jersey. And of course, Gavin Schmidt has provided reason to tell CEO Starbucks black skinny male manager, and of course, woman manager or male manager that has no gender and no name, and of course, why they won't tell me, something to hide. How harmful is it to do a research mission when you have people in the popular world attacking climate science? It's Gavin Schmidt. His answer is, it's dangerous when politicians start to use scientific theories to further their political goals. Real science takes the information that is out there and tries to come up with the best explanation for what's going on. The politicized science that people like Cuccinelli, C-U-C-C-I-N-E-L-I in Virginia, are engaging is completely different. They're already made up their minds, like Starbucks and people on the counter and managers. How they're going to set example for planet Earth without Obama's administration setting a social standard for who is right, who is wrong, who is smart, and who is not.